Live from Studio 1396, I'm AJ England, and this is Late Lap, brought to you loud and proud by anybody willing to put a quarter in my cup. Folks, we're going to talk mostly about the world of drag racing tonight, NHRA drag racing in Thunder Valley, but we do have, perhaps, a larger story to start the night. And folks, this one is a big one. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and gearheads of all ages, take a deep breath. Smell that? No, it's not race fuel, barbecue, or the oddly comforting aroma of sun-baked rubber on a summer weekend. That, my friends, is nostalgia. That's history rolling back into town with dual exhausts and a HEMI roar that's been bottled up for 13 long years. Ram is back. Say it with me. Ram is back. And not just anywhere. They're coming home. Home to where truck owners and race fans speak the same language. Home to the series that made torque sexy and tailgates fast. Home to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And don't call it a comeback. Let's call it what it really is, a Ram-Demption. Because that's exactly what Ram is calling it. And if that doesn't give you goosebumps the size of lug nuts, you might want to check your pulse. Now, I know some of you have waited for this moment like it's the second coming of sliced bread on race day. For over a decade, fans and dealers alike have been shouting into the void, "Where is Ram? Where is Dodge? When is Ram coming back?" And your void has finally been answered. After a 13-year absence, after one too many podiums without the bold Ram or Dodge logos in sight, the brand that brought us the Power Wagon, the TRX, the Rumblebee, and the world's fastest production pickup is finally firing on all 8 cylinders, literally and metaphorically, and coming back to America's motorsport. They didn't sneak in through the side door either. No, they kicked it off the hinges with donuts. Not Krispy Kreme, burnout donuts. Burned rubber, thundercloud smoke donuts on a custom-built donut trailer, no less. Because when Ram comes back, they don't just bring trucks, they bring theater. They bring fire. They bring Anderson Silva shooting HEMI-branded t-shirts into the crowd like it's WrestleMania on wheels. And I'm not kidding. That happened. Welcome to the wildest comeback in NASCAR since Dale Jr. returned in a Batman car. Now, let's rewind the clock for a second. Ram last ran full-time in the Truck Series back in 2012. Back then, Brad Keselowski, who was a Dodge Ram owner, was celebrating as a driver a cup title with Dodge. Twitter was still fun, and the only thing hybrid in racing was the chatter on the radios between the driver and the crew chiefs. Ram stepped away in 2013 to focus on the development of their 1500 model Ram truck. Something has since always felt incomplete. And now? Now, we've come full circle. No pun intended, oval race fans. Full circle on a high-banked afternoon of Michigan International Speedway, a stone's throw from the automobile's heartbeat, Detroit, or as they so elegantly call it in France, Detroit. Ram pulled the cover off of a masterpiece, the Ram 1500 NASCAR concept truck. If trucks could talk, this one would snarl. This isn't some watered-down corporate parade float. No, this is a truck. It's an aerodynamic symphony of aggression. It looks like it eats torque for breakfast and spits out horsepower before lunch. Built by the Ram design team, this beast merges the DNA of the Warlock, the Rebel, and the new RHO into a visual haymaker of molten red and glossy black. The lines are sculpted for airflow, but the presence is pure intimidation. And did I mention it revs past 9,000 RPM? There was a time in oval racing where you might cough or laugh at 9,000 RPM, but you folks that are loyal know the revs have gone down. That's really saying something. And you're not just looking at this showpiece. You're looking at Ram's re-entry into the high-octane Coliseum that is the prestigious NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. If you're a young fan, you likely believe that the Craftsman Truck Series is a feeder, but it's so much more. The history is really there. If you're an NHRA fan, the Craftsman Truck Series is that of the Lucas Oil Sportsman classes. But it's bigger. It's nostalgic, and it really helped with the engineering of that next gen. Ram's entry into this high-octane Coliseum is a series. It's gritty, it's competitive, and it's real. It's where the names on the tailgates, not the bumper, matter just as much as the names on the fire suit. And with over 40% of all NASCAR fans owning trucks, this isn't just a brand move. It's a cultural homecoming. You don't have to like Dodge or Ram. You could be a Ford or a Toyota or a Chevy guy or girl, and you still have to know that this is one of the most cool things that's happened in stock car racing. We need OEMs. If you've been watching this show since we started in the winter, you know how heartbroken I was when Toyota announced a slight departure, maybe a full one, from NHRA drag racing. We need more OEMs. And we need reputable ones. And frankly, and I'm sorry to our international friends, we need American auto brands in the NHRA, NASCAR, and IndyCar to fulfill the history and prestige that has always been there. And you think I'm nostalgic? Sure, but think again. This is marketing. It's marketing with muscle. It's storytelling at 200 miles an hour, and they will hit those speeds next year. It's product development, backed by performance, because every race is a live commercial. Every pass on the high side, a rolling endorsement. If you think Ram's just dipping their toe in the cold water, you're crazy. You haven't been paying enough attention to Tim Kuniskis. Kuniskis, the CEO of Ram brand, he made this announcement, but he dropped it too. Right before a cup race, with jets flying overhead and Goodyear blimp watching along. Now I'm going to pause for a minute. I'm excited about Kuniskis. I'm excited that every day he has a new announcement for Ram trucks. He's a great leader. But I wonder how much he understands about the stock car. Because I am mind blown. This is huge, but it could have been bigger. This would be the equivalent of Dale Earnhardt Jr. going on Twitter before his sponsors and social media team and saying, I'm running in the 500 next year. You got to plan these things. You have to. And we all knew about it a week ago. So yeah, it's official now, and we're talking about it tonight, and I'm thrilled. But next time, Kuniskis, next time, plan it out. Now, Kuniskis does have a plan, just not for this announcement. But his plan overall is 25 product announcements over 18 months. Ram is, they're just back in racing, but they are full sprint, full send, full rampage, could you call it? He says, we are back and nothing stops Ram. And when a guy of that confidence, when they do that and they're peeling out a concept truck at Darlington Raceway, I'm inclined to believe. Let's go to the comments. Dujanet Bland, DJ, very loud here in these comments. He says, let's go laps. He says, Ram is back. He says, let's get Dodge in the NHRA Pro Stock. Let me tell you how cool Dodge in the NHRA Pro Stock division was. It was so cool that Jeg Coughlin Jr. took the Jegs brand, which was mostly known for Chevrolet aftermarket parts, and he ran a Stratus. It was wicked. The Dodge brand, I'm not a Dodge guy. I'm not a Chevy guy. I drive a car and I don't talk about it much. The car of the day we will talk about later. Every day there's a new one. But I do respect history, and I do respect huge fan bases that love cars like this one. This isn't just about bold moves. It's about honoring legacy. Ram is a name that belongs in NASCAR. It always has. From the early days of the Truck Series, when Brendan Gaughan was setting a world record in an SRT-10, Ram trucks have always blurred the line between work and speed, utility and performance. Whether it was the Little Red Express hauling down drag strips in the 70s or the TRX redefining off-road supremacy, Ram has always dared to be different. And now they're daring to compete again. John Probst from NASCAR put it best. Ram returning to the Truck Series is a major moment. And he's right. It's not just a return, it's a statement. It takes a lot to walk away and make a bold enough re-entry that people like it. Usually people may be mad. A signal that this sport still has the juice to attract blue chip brands. That the Craftsman Truck Series is more than a feeder, it itself is oftentimes the feature. And don't forget what Ram brings to the table off the track. We are talking about the 2026 Ram 1500 lineup with the return of the legendary 5.7 liter HEMI V8. We're talking about segment first torque numbers, industry-leading luxury with massage seats, and ride quality that makes your chiropractor as redundant as typing a new paper. Whether it's the new RHO, the revamped chassis cab line, or the commercial powerhouse of Ram, Ram ProMaster, the brand is sticking wins before the green flag even drops. And let's talk about future. Hang tight. Catch your breath. No speculation here. But don't build this kind of concept if you don't want to unveil a big badass campaign without a vision. Ram sees the road ahead, and so does Stellantis and Dodge. And while the Truck Series is the perfect place to plant the flag again, this is the first major domino in something much bigger. For now, that's all we need to know. Today, we're not just celebrating the return of a manufacturer, we are celebrating the return of attitude, of muscle, of the unmistakable thunder of a HEMI breathing fire again in America's largest motorsport. Ram's not just back, they're back with a vision. Polish your chrome, gas up your tailgate grill, and get ready to hear that three-letter word echo through the grandstands one more time. R-A-M, Ram. It doesn't spell power, but it feels like it. Welcome back, Ram. America missed you. You know, folks, right here, we're going to go from NASCAR to NHRA drag racing, and we had 4 great professional races. I didn't have time to prepare for the motorcycle stock class, so I will talk about the great Richard Gadsden, who almost got it done in Charlotte and finally got that big win. We will talk about his win tomorrow, but we do have 3 race cars to talk about at NHRA in Bristol. I happen to be at the race, and I want to talk about what's probably the comeback of the year. And no, I'm not talking about your uncle trying to sell Herbalife again. I'm talking about a 4-time NHRA Top Fuel World Champion. A man who's stared down cancer, pressure, doubters, wheel spin, tire smoke, and still lights up that scoreboard. Steve Torrence is back. Let me just say, if you've ever find yourself in a rut, stuck, doubting your next step, just watch the Thunder Valley Nationals from this past weekend. Watch a man who hadn't tasted victory in nearly a year, who hadn't won in Bristol since 2013, back when Harlem Shake videos were a thing, cross the line at 325 miles an hour, and let the scoreboard do the talking. By the way, I hate when I go off script and it's not even a note. I took some pictures down near the top end of the track yesterday, and they have the best time scoreboard in all of drag racing. I've been to over 30 tracks and every national event racetrack and Bradenton, and nothing compares to whatever they did differently this year on that beautiful scoreboard. From a distance, it kind of looks the same. Up close and personal, you realize it's a major upgrade. It's extremely bright, and even in the sunlight, you could read every number from 500 yards. It was stunning. Great job to the facilities team at Bristol Motor Speedway and Marcus Smith and his team. Now, let's set the scene for Steve-O. Bristol Dragway, Tennessee. A track that's beautiful, that's loud, and about as smooth as a backcountry gravel road after a tractor pull. This place is notorious for its twin bumps, right at the tunnels where the fans walk under. The drag strip equivalent of hitting a speed bump at Mach fucking 1. Every run feels like launching off a curb with a nitro bomb strapped to your back. And in this chaos, this turbulence, rises 4-time world champion Steve Torrence. Now, before Sunday, Steve had been in what you might call a strategic hibernation. He was still fast, he was still dangerous, and he was still that Texan firecracker in a big old Capco Contractors fire suit. But wins, they dried up like West Texas Creek in July. 13 races, 13 tries, no wallies. That's a lifetime when you've tasted champagne as often as he has. But Torrence didn't panic. He didn't overhaul his crew. He didn't throw parts at the wall. He didn't hop on X and blame the track or the president or the clutch or drag racing politics, which we had plenty of as well. No, sir, no, ma'am. He said, I'm going to stay with this girl. I'm going to stay with the girl I brought to dance. That's maybe the most Texas way to say, I trust my people, that I've ever heard. And those people, Richard Hogan, Bobby Lagana, you know, the guys who tuned Steve to 53 previous wins and a full-blown sweep of the 2018 countdown to the championship, one of the greatest nitro accomplishments we will ever see. That's like going undefeated in the playoffs while strapped to a rocket with the handles. Take that, baseball fans. In Bristol, they showed they still had the magic. Let's talk that final round. Steve lines up against Justin Ashley, another driver who's been knocking on the win door all season long. What do you have, 7 in 2023? I'm sure he did really well last year. I just don't know the number. Wonderful drivers. Wonderful. And they're chasing their first win of the year. And at first glance, this had the makings of a shootout. 2 drivers hungry for their first W of the season. 2 machines capable of launching into orbit. 2 fathers fighting to bring a trophy home before Father's Day. The lights come down. Boom! Ashley goes up in smoke practically before you can blink. Torrence, straight, true. 4 with a 2, 325.37 mile an hour. 0 mistakes. 1 man. 1 mission, and 1 Wally, heading back to Kilgore, Texas. Just like that, it's win number 56 in Top Fuel. 1 more notch on that belt. 1 more stat for the history books. 1 more reason that they call them the Capco Boys. The Capco Boys don't just rebuild, they reload like whatever gun they shoot in Texas. And the most impressive part, this win wasn't just for the trophy, it wasn't just for the streak, though yeah, 11 straight seasons with a win is the longest active streak in Top Fuel. No, this was one for his daughters, for his family, for his legacy. And he said it best. He said, my little girl was born in 2021, and that was kind of the end of our reign. I didn't want her to think I couldn't win anymore. Let that sink in. That's not just dad energy, that's champion DNA. And tiger blood. And that right there is why I love this sport. Because beneath the 10,000 horsepower explosions and the wall of fire, it's always personal. These aren't just drivers. These are warriors with welders, racers with roots, parents with pressure. And when a guy like Steve Torrence climbs the mountain again after a year of trying on a gnarly, rain-delayed, beat you up and leave you sore Bristol track, it means something. It means resilience. It means loyalty. It means redemption. Or as the folks at Ram Trucks might call it, Ram-Demption. Hey, it works for them. Maybe it worked for Steve too. And by the way, let's not overlook the semifinal win either. Torrence took down Tony Stewart. Yes, that Tony Stewart. So no matter who you are watching this show, you might know him as the NHRA points leader and recent first-time winner. You might know him as an IndyCar champion. You might know him as a NASCAR Hall of Famer, USAC Triple Crown winner, owner of TSR Nitro, that Tony Stewart. Well, Torrence beat him. And imagine doing that. And, that's not easy. The guy who, he beat him. And if Tony Stewart ever entered a bowling league, he'd probably throw a 300 with a spare tire. Stewart had the number 1 qualifier spot, and Torrence snatched the spotlight right off his helmet. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. The NHRA is heating up. Torrence is back in the winner's circle, and Father's Day is about to hit a little different for the guy with the quickest reflexes in Texas. To Steve Torrence from the Late Lap, I raise my spark plug, tip on my helmet, and say, welcome back to the top. You earned it, champ. Stick around. We've got more tire smoke, two-stepping, and trackside hot takes coming up. But first, we're going to show you exactly what 325 miles per hour looks like at 4.02 seconds. That was an impressive round. This is the first time I've really watched it today. Watched it quite a few times. This is the Late Lap. I'll be right back. And we are back here at Late Lap. Folks, I see a handful of you watching live. If you're new to the show, hit subscribe. We're live Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. We talk all things racing, all things automotive. I am so glad to have people tuning in, and 155,000 watchers in all of May and June, and nearly 700 subscribers just since May 1st. Thank you all for your continued support. I do not take it for granted. All right. We are staying in Thunder Valley, folks. And, because if there's one thing Bristol delivered this weekend, it wasn't just fireworks, it was history. While Steve Torrence broke a drought and reminded the Top Fuel world that the Cowboys still got the fastest draw in the land, the funny car class saw its own streak come to a screeching halt, and a legend take another step towards immortality. Let's talk about Ron Capps. Now, I always like to compare the different people from the audience. If you know NASCAR, you might know Ron Capps. He's competed in SRX. He's competed at the Eldora Showdown. He is a iRacer, and he is one hell of an NHRA legend and champion. Now, Ron Capps didn't just win a drag race on Sunday. No. He reclaimed a throne. He etched his name one more layer deeper in Bristol's dragway concrete timeline. Because with Sunday night's win, Ron Capps became the winningest professional NHRA driver in the history of Thunder Valley. 8 wins. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 8 wins. That's more than John Force. That's more than Bob Glidden. That's more than Tony Schumacher. That's more than anyone. If Thunder Valley had a Mount Rushmore carved into those gorgeous East Tennessee hills, Ron Capps just took the biggest chisel and said, "Move over, boys, and make room for my dick." And it wasn't easy getting there. This was Capps' first win since the 2023 U.S. Nationals. That's 9 final round appearances where he came up just short. That's 9 times putting on the fire suit, warming up the motor, watching the wind light not come on. And yet, he kept swinging. He kept fighting, because that's what champions do. And let me tell you, Ron didn't tiptoe into the winner's circle. He earned it. Walk it back. In qualifying, he practically did a nitro-powered baptism, flying through a downpour at the finish line. And when the sun came back out, his crew chief, Guido Antonelli, definitely turned the knobs, lit the candles, and tuned the Toyota GR Supra like it was playing Beethoven's Fifth at 326 miles an hour. We have a couple of comments here talking about, I believe it was Torrance's win. Old Dave W., we love him. He says the crowd went, meh. I wasn't there. I was there all weekend, and I did end up heading home because there was rain inbound, and I had to work this morning in Columbus. But it was a lackluster crowd at times, but a loyal one. And think about that. Think about what they talk about Epping's crowd, the smallest in the nation, but a great quality substance of fans. Dugenet saying, I think that's a middle finger emoji. It might be. Yeah, I think it is. Dave also saying he was in elementary school when he started his pro career. Now he's a grandpa. This guy never ages. I believe he's talking about caps. I think I followed that right. Back to caps. Race day, third qualifier, lane choice roulette. And if you noticed, Caps was the first guy to get that win in the right lane since 10:44 in the morning during the amateur classes. It was left lane for 3.5 hours. Not one right lane victory. No matter what class, you couldn't have ran in your thong sandals. You couldn't have ran in that right lane better than the guy in the left lane. The left lane was going to win, but Ron did it, and that's tough. And right off the bat, who's waiting? None other than his longtime and former teammate, Matt Hagan, the guy who walks into a burnout box like he owes him money. That's not a warm-up act. That's a heavyweight bout. And Caps took it. A 405 over a 406 inches, folks. We're talking a neck hair of margin. Then came along J.R. Todd. Now, Junior Todd won last week. Caps didn't even have lane choice. That right lane at Bristol, remember? That's the one you draw short straw for. But once again, the Napa know-how came through 4.11, steady as ever, marching on like this was a destiny. If you follow every week, you might be thinking, 411? Isn't the national record nearly 379, 378? What are we dealing with there? Well, okay, listen. The track was a bag of mashed up asshole. It was rough, and it was mostly due to the rain, okay? Nothing against Bristol's property. It was just not great. Semis, Dave Richards. He's no schmuck. Caps got out clean. Richards, tire smoke city. Here's the thing. Guido shut the car down. Drop cylinders, didn't want to risk it. Smart. Tactical. You don't win championships by swinging blindly. You win them by knowing when to coast and knowing when to crush. Then for the third day in a row in Tennessee came the rain. One last Bristol surprise. You know, the longtime sponsor of John Force Racing, Auto Club Raceway, now Pomona Dragway. Auto Club, one of their chief officers there, I believe was his title. I don't know your title, Chad, but you're a great man. Chad Light, Graham Light's son. He used to tell the same joke quite often. He'd say, you know how to end a drought? You hold a drag race. The rain came. So was it a last surprise? Just when the fans were ready for the final? Boom! The skies open up, delayed. Reset, conditions cool. And when the track came back to life, it was set for a showdown. Ron Capps versus Paul Lee. And Paul Lee, if he wins the championship, not one of you can say you're surprised. Absolute caliber performer this year. Fresh off his first career win earlier this year and feeling good. Feeling lucky, perhaps, but great. But Capps came ready to end all doubt. And he ran a great run, 395 with a 7 at 328.06 miles an hour. It wasn't just the quickest pass of the race day. It was a mic drop on a mountain. And with that run, Ron Capps didn't just win that other trophy. He did, in fact, make history. He moved past Schumacher and past Force. He joined the 8-time club at a single venue. A club that basically has one member, John Force, but not at Bristol. Capps is in that club. You could see it on his face in the winner's circle. The joy, the relief, the respect. Because when he said, any time you can win more than John Force anywhere, it's huge, we all felt that. And it wasn't trash talk. That was Capps looking back at decades of racing, decades of pressure, and knowing he just wrote a new chapter in the book he used to read while growing up. If you didn't make the race, take this advice from Jack Beckman. He says when they hold a drag race and you're not there, it feels like all of your best friends are throwing a party and you aren't invited. And it felt like that. But thanks to great partners like NHRA.TV and the Fox family of sports broadcasters, we could all see it nearly live, and Ron Capps did that. It was the best part. This wasn't just a win for Ron. It was a win for the entire Napa Auto Care family, for Toyota, for Guido, for every single fan who still believes in sticking with your crew, your plan, and your identity, even when the W's aren't coming. Because that's what Ron did. He trusted the process. He stayed loyal to his people. He learned from the Dons, Perdomo and Schumacher. And now he's writing his own story yet again as an owner, a driver, and frankly, a living legend. So tonight on the Late Lap, I raised my Napa hat, the one that I keep on top of my car, a tire gauge, and maybe even a little bit of Tennessee whiskey because I did go to my favorite liquor store, to Ron Capps, Bristol's new king, the man with the golden throttle, the streak breaker, and still one of the coolest to ever sit in a funny car. Stay tuned, we've got more hot takes, highlights, and maybe even a few more first-time winners on the horizon. But tonight, we celebrate the man who just keeps showing us how it's done. Capps is clutch. This is the Late Lap. I'll be right back. We are live here from Studio 1396, Columbus, Ohio. Folks, if you're just tuning in, let's keep this Thunder Valley celebration rolling. Because what we just witnessed this weekend wasn't just a successful Sunday, it was a historic one. Legends rose, droughts broke, and the scoreboard lit up like the 4th of July on Beale Street. Steve Torrance returned to the winner's circle. Ron Capps became the undisputed king of Bristol. And then there was somebody really, really cool named Greg Anderson. Now look, we throw around the word legend a lot on this show. And frankly, in the sport that I most regularly represent, the NHRA, we all use the term GOAT, legend, icon, star, stud, racer, champ way too often. Let's just be honest about that. Admit it. Admit it. And you know I'm right. And I don't care who you are. You know that I'm right. We throw around the fucking word GOAT. We throw around icon, legend, champion. But why do we do that at such greater quantities than in stock car racing, than in Indy car racing, than in Formula One, than in drifting, IMSA, sports car, motocross, Monster Jam, or Rally X? Why do we do that so much more in drag racing? Well, the reason we do it is because we have so many classes that are each considered the best of their discipline. And every one of them has a short list of men or women that are arguably the best of their class. So within our sport, we really have like 85 goats. And we all know the one great goat is Mr. Force. But overall, we've got like 80 of them, and that's why we talk around it. So everybody's a goat these days. Some guy wins 2 events, and suddenly he's on the Mount Rushmore of drag racing. But every now and then, someone comes along and really earns that title all over again. That happened this weekend. At the foot of the Smoky Mountains, on the sacred stretch of asphalt we call Bristol Dragway, Greg Anderson crossed a line only one human being in NHRA history had ever crossed before. 1,000 round wins. 1,000. That's not 1,000 passes. That's not 1,000 laps. That's 1,000 times Greg Anderson won a head-to-head matchup in an NHRA professional race. 1,000 times. And came out on top. Only one other driver has done it, a guy that I mention far too often, the great John Force. Have you ever heard of him? The sport started in 1951. Next year will be their 75th anniversary. Thousands of racers, decades of heroes. And now, only 2 men in the 75-ish year history can say they've won 1,000 rounds. No women and no other species can say it. That's not just numbers. That's dedication, consistency, and talent multiplied across eras, rule changes, rivalries, and engine platforms. And Greg didn't just get number 1,000 and pack it up. He took it a step further and won the whole damn race. 110 Pro Stock wins now, and I'm going to go off script. This right here, you're not going to like me, NHRA Nation. I think Greg Anderson can pass John Force as the winningest driver in pro drag racing history. He's 63 years old, and he's going to need to really have great success. Great success where he's not calling his shots. But I think there's a true path where he can do it. Now, I'm not Babe Ruth in this. I'm not putting on a tee and swearing I'm going to hit a home run. And as a man that has the great fortune of knowing John, I'm not saying I want it to happen. But I'm saying Greg may be the final man or woman that has the caliber, team, and heritage to do so. Until then, we get to talk about what he's doing right now. And that's winning. That's being a GOAT. And he is the GOAT, right? Bob Glidden fans, don't hate me. I love me a good Ford. But I think Greg's the guy. 3 of them at Bristol of his 110 wins. And fittingly, this very track was where Greg got his first career win back in 2001. Full circle, folks. Same mountain, different man. The moment it happened, in the semis over David Quadra, Greg hits the throttle. That KB Titan horsepower doing what it does best, and boom. Win light. History. And then, like the champion he is, he strolls right into the final and delivered that low elapsed time of the event, 6.62 with a 3 at 205.91 mile an hour. Dallas Glenn, who's been on an absolute hot streak, doing things like resembling other race car drivers and winning lots of races and celebrating the sweet, sweet love of life with Sadie. Dallas Glenn left early by 0.02 of a second, a heartbreaking red light, sure. But that doesn't change what we saw. Greg didn't win on luck. He might have won on luck in Phoenix. He won on execution. And on a weekend filled with names like Torrance and Capps rewriting their own narratives. Greg went and wrote a whole new chapter of the NHRA history book. And now, as promised, let's slow it down and talk about why this one means more. Here's your Greg Anderson tribute from the late lap. When we talk about Greg Anderson, we're not just talking about a driver. We're talking about a builder, a pioneer, a steward of pro stock racing, and a representative of North Carolina in a sport that is now becoming more and more Midwest. From the moment he left Warren Johnson's camp and teamed up with Ken Black to form KB Racing, Greg wasn't just trying to win races. He was building a culture, a team, a legacy, and that legacy has outlasted eras. He's been through the V8 battles, the fuel injection transitions, the rising stars and rotating rivalries. He's been the villain, the veteran, the benchmark. He's faced Jeg Coughlin, Erica Enders, Dave Connolly, titans of talent. And he's taken lumps. He's been knocked out. He's stalled out on win 50, 75, 100, just like he said. But he always got back up. This sport can be cruel. It forgets its heroes so quickly. And that's why we talk about our GOATs so often. It replaces dominance with novelty in the blink of a red light. Greg never chased the spotlight. He chased excellence. And he did it with the same humble formula as so many others. Race hard, stay sharp, and surround yourself with people who make you better. That's what he said Sunday. It isn't Greg Anderson who got all these round wins. It was Rob Downing. It was Jason Line, the Titan Racing Engines merger. The crew, the team, the belief. That's leadership. That's wisdom. That's someone who understands that this isn't a solo sport. It's a factory of commitment. Late nights, missed birthdays, early flights, burned hands, and data sheets. And at age 63, he's not just racing. Now he's competing. He's winning. He's sitting atop the points. 4 wins already in 2025. 4 wins and 6 final rounds. He's gunning for the championship, number 7. like it's 2004 all over again. What Greg Anderson did this weekend wasn't just a stat, it was a statement. Greatest doesn't expire. To win and get your 1,000th round win, you can still hit the throttle like it's your very first. So to Greg Anderson, HendrickCars.com, Chevrolet, and KB Titan, and everybody else a part of it, I salute you. From Thunder Valley to Norwalk and beyond, you've proven that the mountain never really has a top, just more sky to chase. And if you keep chasing it, I promise we will keep watching. You know, I am thrilled to see history. You go to a lot of sporting events and sometimes you are dealt with an okay day. And sure, a day in the rain at the drag strip is way better than any day at work, right? But what if you work in the sport? What if it's raining while you're at work at the drag races? Greg winning his 1,000th round was huge, and it really is historic. It's something that we should all be really, really excited for, and I know I am. Well, folks, it is my favorite segment of the day. Dun dun dun. I got to get a new intro. I wonder if my old intro button works. Do I still have it? It is time for the car of the day. Mopar Maniacs, I owe it to you. We started the show with the NASCAR Ram and SEMA show diehards. We're talking to you today too. Welcome to the Late Lap, the only show that burns rubber in your mind and peels out in your heart. And tonight, not just any night. It's the kind of night where chrome dreams, EV bolts, Hemi pulses, and decades of heritage all smash into each other like it's the final round of the Gator Nationals. Because Mopar just recently, this is a little bit of a few months ago, went full beast mode at SEMA. And frankly, it's my favorite car I've learned about recently. So that's honesty. It only feels right. I mean, when Tony Stewart's stacking W's and Top Fuel Ram trucks are stampeding, or maybe I should call it rampeding, back into NASCAR, the Mopar Media Machine is firing on all electric cylinders. Gas, electric, and probably plutonium at this point. And I want to talk about it. This year, Mopar will roll out again in Vegas, not to gamble, but to remind everyone who built the strip in the first place. From electrified legends to industrial-strength off-road warriors, they didn't just bring concept cars. They brought the whole playbook of what it means to be a performance brand. First up, the headliner, the 1967 Plymouth GTX Electromod concept. Now, I need you to picture this, and look over there if you have to. Frostbite blue missile from the past. But instead of unleaded, it's fed by volts, not dreams. Electrons. This is Mopar flexing their wrench hand and their future vision at the same time. Now, depending on when you watch this could be 2030, and the Dodge Hemi has been back for already 5 years. Because it is coming back, folks. But just sit with me one more time, because it might be the last electric car I ever talk about. And this isn't just an electric car. It's the love child of a Hellcat and a flux capacitor. A flux capacitor. Do you all know that 1.21 gigawatts is needed to make a flux capacitor work? The GTX Electromod doesn't whisper the future, it growls it. With a 400-volt electric drive module producing about 335 horses, custom carbon fiber accents, and a one-off integrated dual charging module that pays visual homage to the Hellcat supercharger, you better believe it has earned its stripes. But it's the way Mopar did it that was so brilliant. They didn't erase the soul of the car, they preserved it. Manual window cranks, classic flip-top charge port door, a horn pad tribute to the floating Plymouth hub, and seats from a Jeep Wrangler modified to fit. It's Frankenstein's monster, if Frankenstein had access to CNC machines and a factory paint booth. Mopar didn't just retrofit a muscle car, they proved that the golden age of horsepower isn't dying, it's just learning how to recharge. Then they doubled down with the Ram 2500 Power Wagon concept. You want beef? You want brawn? How about a satin stealth sand brick on 35-inch Goodyears with header orange tow hooks so loud they scream get out of the way? And that's kind of where it is. You know, at the end of the day, they brought a lot of cars to the SEMA show last year. But this was the one that I loved so much and I've been wanting to bring up and talk about And it just felt right with all of the NHRA and NASCAR competition. And today, your car of the day. It's right there. We hope you enjoyed it. Well, folks, I love what we get to do at night for about an hour each night. It is my intent that whether you love me or you hate me, whether you prefer when I talk about auto racing or the automobile, it's my intent and my hope that we're all on the same page, and for at least a little while, you get to forget about life. And certainly I think we're doing that. So there was a little bit of drama at the NHRA races, and I want to clarify a social media post that I made before we tune out for the night. Heading into elimination round 3 of Bristol Motor Speedway, Bristol Dragway, the KB Titan and the Elite Motorsport teams had a little bit of a kerfuffle, and they definitely were getting a little rough. Now, I did not personally witness any throwing of the punches, but I saw a lot of shoving, a lot of swearing, a lot of screaming, and a lot of people. And I've read a lot of opinions. I am not the expert on any of what happened yesterday. I don't work for those teams. I don't represent their sponsors. But I do know that we have media members in our sport who will abuse this headline and who will intend on misleading you through Twitter, through their websites, through their YouTube channels, just so that you'll click hit play and watch. And I think that is wrong, and I think that's bullshit, and it is now going to be my mission to ensure that anything I report is very clearly my opinion. That is what you'll get the most of, or authentic quotes, facts, and stories that I'm bringing you. Now, really, nothing's changed coming from me, but I will be consistently calling out keyboard warriors. I've been doing so regularly if you happen to follow me on any private social media. And I'll also be calling out members of the press. I've been known, I think, as kind of a good guy in autosport. I try to not burn any bridges, and I really believe I'm a nice guy. But when you manipulate the great fans who are investing and buying the products of our sponsors, when you manipulate the fans, mislead them, when you egg on drivers to frustrate them, ruffle their feathers, piss them off, when you misquote them, we're not going to put up with it anymore. I see in the comments DJ saying we did need drama. Oh, we agree there. Drama is good. I'm not upset that there was drama. I'm upset at media members who, many of who were in Bristol this week, who want to question drivers, who want to use clickbait and mislead the fans, who want to challenge driver sponsors, PR reps, other media members, and who want to make things awkward, inappropriate, uncomfortable, and dishonest. You're going to start telling the truth. Start telling the truth. Because if you don't, it's going to be a bloodbath. Your ratings are going to drop. Your views, your clicks, your article reads, you're going to have some serious competition really soon. And I think you already do, my friends. So there's a few publications that I'm referring to, a couple big ones and a couple of small ones. There's a couple of YouTubers that I'm talking to, and have some etiquette. Have some etiquette, because there are rules, and you're going to follow them. And if not, well, we're just going to expose all of the areas where you're wrong, because that's not right. So, end of my little rant tonight. I appreciate all of you. And I'll go back to Mr. Smile here, which I actually have a baseball jersey that says Mr. Smile. As I say at the end of every great episode, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, smile, be happy, and until then. And to our friends in the South, sea amable consigo mismo, sea amable con otros, sonría, sea feliz. Hasta entonces, Cuídese. Good night, everybody.